Hello, everybody. This is Kiwi with the Face Off Rip-Off series, Episode 3, with everybody's favorite defensive forward, offensive defenseman, Tony Filo. Tony, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Now that I get to sit down with you. Want to jump into this?
Yeah, go for it.
Real quick and easy. What got you into hockey?
Hockey, the sport?
The sport.
The
NHL.
sport.
Fucking
Well,
around with your buddies. I don't know.
yeah. As long as I can remember, when I was a little kid, I've always played road hockey with my friends. We've all loved playing hockey. Played it in school, played it in the street. I loved watching it on TV, even before I knew players or teams or anything. I just loved it. I was fascinated by it. I thought it was the coolest, best sport in the
What
world.
kind of kept you fascinated? The speed of it, or what?
Yeah, it was unique. It's on ice. People have skates. People hit. When I started watching when I was little, people really got hit. So that was great. And uh, it was just, it's fast paced. There were a lot of really talented, I knew Wayne Gretzky, I knew Mario Lemieux,
Mm.
it was a lot of fun. Being a Canadian kid,
Yeah.
everybody loved it.
What was your favorite team? Because I know you're in between, like, Toronto and Ottawa,
Yeah,
right?
I'm dead center between Toronto and Ottawa. So where I grew up, there's not it's not a lot of Leafs fans or a lot of Senators fans or Montreal fans individually. It's kind of a big mixed bag of different Canadian teams that everybody loves. And I never really grabbed on to any of those, but my mom, she's born and raised and currently lives in Columbus, Ohio, and she's not a big Columbus sports fan. She's a big Pittsburgh sports fan. She loves the Steelers, and she likes the Penguins too, and the Pirates to a lesser extent, but she loves the Steelers and Penguins. And so my dad wasn't a big sports fan. He couldn't care less about the Leafs
Mm.
So I kind of gravitated towards what my mom liked because she liked all these Pittsburgh teams. So I was like, oh, I like the Penguins. And it wasn't really until 2005. I would have been 9 years old. Sidney Crosby gets drafted, and
Mm.
here's this 18-year-old super. He's going to be the next Gretzky, is what I'm told. And everybody at school is talking about him. And I'm just, oh my God, it's on the Pittsburgh Penguins. My mom loves that team. Oh my God. And I just took off from there. And I've always played the NHL video games too. That really, I think, kept my interest going.
That kind of helped. I know with those, it's like those really helped me kind of know a lot of stuff I shouldn't have known. Like I could name you like fourth liners on random teams, and it's
Yeah,
like,
I don't. When I was in school, when I was a little kid, I played a lot of them, and I'd go through the rosters and I'd memorize players on teams, and then I'd go back to school and tell my buddies and kids about, like, yeah, every single player on, like, the Phoenix Coyotes. They were Phoenix back then. For example, the Phoenix Coyotes, because
mm.
they were like back then they were nothing. It was like, why would you know that team? Why would you care? Why would you care at all? Why do you know these players? And it was just something really fun that I got to know all these players from the video games.
Mm. Speaking of video games, what was the first game you remember playing, and some of your favorite games now that you play?
Um, the first game, I don't know if I played it. The first game I remember, though, my dad has always been a big computer gamer, and back then I remember watching him play through the game Return to Castle Wolfenstein
Mm.
back in about 2001, so I would have been 5 maybe. And it was super violent and a lot of Nazi killing and zombie killing, and it was super gory. And I think that, like, twisted me into what I am today. And just he played a lot of Battlefield too, and Unreal Tournament, which I did play some Unreal Tournament with him. So that's probably one of the first ones I played. But it was just mostly these games, these shooters that my dad played, that I got really fascinated with. And I've always played the NHL video games. I had NHL '97 as a kid, which would have came out in 1996, the year I was born. So I wouldn't have played it then, but I played it for years and years. And every now and then I'd get a new one. I wasn't buying them every year back then. I was just every now and then I'd get one as a gift or something. I'd
Mm.
upgrade.
And what are some of your favorite games now? Because I always see you. You're always talking about some odd random game that no one's like. I just see Crab and Omaha get on For the King. It's like you're in that
Yeah.
group too that you guys all
Hey, we
pick
were
something.
we were playing For the King. Me and Dial and Apps were playing For the King way before those guys. So
But like you always are a fan of some obscure game that you play
yeah,
for a couple weeks.
yeah,
So
I know.
what are some of your games now?
right now. Well, and also I want to apologize to everybody that I'm always trying to get to play those games, like Guy especially. I'm sorry that I make you guys get these awful games to play with me. It's they're not great. 2K especially. I don't know. I've always kind of loved games I could play with other people and bring friends over like that. I think that's why I love those NHL games so much. Is those are perfect couch co-op playing, or playing
Mhm.
against each other. They've always been so much fun.
So you're not really a fan of single player?
No, not as I mean, I probably was more
Cause well, like that's a good point
before.
that you brought
Yeah.
up. Cause like I'll see you play CS with Dial. You started to do that a little bit
Yeah.
for like no apparent reason. Like probably just to
No,
play.
he just asked me to play one day and I caved. I'm not a big esports fan or anything like that. I like competitive. I like multiplayer, but I don't watch. I've never seen people play Counter Strike or Dota or League or the Smash Brothers. I know all these things exist, but it would never occur to me to watch these big games that everybody loves. I like to find these, whatever. I like to find little multiplayer games that kind of like HQM that don't, they're not huge and they're not overly expensive that you can kind of get people on to play. I think that's the most fun I have playing games.
Yeah, and
That or
get
Star
'em-
Wars games, those single player games, Knights of the Old Republic or whatever. I love those games.
Yeah. Kind of getting around captains games, getting everyone together.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a plug for captains real quick?
Yeah, that'd be great right in the middle of this.
Yeah.
No, I'll start saying some stuff I regret.
Well, you mentioned it. You mentioned HQM, so we got to ask you how you discovered it. What brought everyone's favorite player into hockey?
I don't know how Dial found it, but how I found it was, like I said, I love the NHL games. In high school, I was addicted to them, and I got really good at them between NHL 10 and 14. I was really good, and I played them nonstop. And I loved playing EASHL, where everybody gets their own guy, and you play online with your friends. And I loved that. And NHL 15 is coming out, and I'm hearing these things about it that it's not going to have EASHL, it's not going to have multiplayer, it's not going to the Be a Pro is going to be stripped down. You can't make your own guy. You can't customize anything. And
I think they did a lot of stripping because of
it's because they were switching. I'm
yeah.
not blaming. They were switching to the new Xbox One and PS4 and everything, and you got to leave stuff behind. They're rebuilding it from the ground up, but it was really stripped down. And I was trying to find more information about this because I was just hearing rumors, and I wasn't on Reddit. I never went on Reddit, and I was Googling what's missing. What are the features that are missing from NHL 15? I found this post on the EA NHL subreddit, and I went on there and I found this big list, and I was like, oh my god. And then I checked out. I didn't realize there were subreddits for things like the EA NHL games. I was like, oh, that's weird. And I click on it, and there's a little recruitment post in there from Claude Giroux, who says, hey, NHL 15's not going to have multiplayer. Come play this online game.
Mhm.
And I download it, and I take one look at it, and I'm like, this is not good. This is not for me. And I tuck it away for months. And every now and then, every really infrequently, I'd show a different guy, friends, like, hey, you gotta see this. You gotta see what this game is. It's really weird. And we'd play like just two of us or three people. And I just kind of did that on and off for a little bit. Like I kind of remembered the game. And then around December, January, I finished my first semester of college, and I was not doing anything. And so I started playing pubs in this weird hockey game that I'd just been showing my friends. And I was I don't know, I just got really into it. I thought it was way better, and I couldn't convince any of my friends to see what I saw in this game. I thought this is the most interesting game I've ever played in my life. You guys, how do you all hate this? How can none of you even stand to open this game? And so I started just pubbing around for a while. I didn't even know there were leagues. I saw people with San Jose tags or whatever in their name, and I thought there's a lot of Sharks fans playing this hockey game.
It was the West Coast game.
Yeah. I thought it was a bunch of 40-year-olds. My friends were telling me, dude, you shouldn't play that game. It's a bunch of dads playing that. You can tell.
So what if it was so shitty, everyone hated it, what kept you around? Why are you still here, 12 seasons later, 13 seasons later? Or
Well,
11, I don't know.
what happened was I was playing, I don't know, from January of 2015 for about 4 months. I was just playing pubs. I was just content. I didn't know there were leagues until when Super and Matt were getting kicked out of BOC. I went on the Reddit and saw those posts, and I was like, oh, there's leagues for this game and drama. And I show one of my buddies who I could get on to play, and I'd be like, have you seen this stuff? And I find out there are leagues. I don't even have. I see there's a TeamSpeak, but I don't have TeamSpeak. And my friend convinces me to get TeamSpeak to play Arma with these super nerd role players that are really into this military sim, yeah. And I use TeamSpeak for that, and that's my only experience with it. And I think this is the worst. This is horrible. I'll never do this again. And I'm just playing HQM later, like the next day, and Meat Sale and Zod are in there with me, and they say, "Hey, hop on TeamSpeak." And I was like, "Oh, I just got that. I'll get on." And I get on. Those are the first two guys I ever talked to in this community, and they tell me, "Yeah, sign up for RSL. It's about to switch to 5v5, so there's more spots." And I think, "Oh, well, if it's 5v5, I'll play." And I sign up and end up on Monty's Season 6 RSL Manitoba Moose and have the best time I've ever had playing this game. It was nothing but good guys. We played games outside of HQM. It was a great group of guys that I maintained my friendship with for, you know, still. It was great. It was a lot of fun, and I think that's why I keep playing because I had so much fun that season. I can't. There's nothing bad. I have no bad memories about that first season.
Yeah. You kind of touched on it before, but who's your first friend
From the
Monty?
community?
Yeah, from the community.
No, my first friend was probably Patrick Eliash, who was on Manitoba, and he's a great RSL teammate to have. And I've been buddies with him for 3 years, but recently he kind of ghosted and removed everybody and blocked everything. Kind of sucks to not have him around anymore.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, I don't know. He hasn't really played the game as much. It's hard to stay around if you're not playing HQM, I think.
Yeah.
He didn't, and he has no intention to ever play HQM again. He stopped liking it. But yeah, it's a real bummer. I hope he's doing well. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
love the guy.
Shout out to
Great
Hatrick.
guy. Yeah, shout out to Hatrick.
So you kind of again touched on it before I had the chance to ask, but season 6 RSL, the stat tracking season's not really too good,
No, it was not.
but what you still did really well. It says on the stat sheet that you have 27 points, but I mean, I don't
Give
know.
or take.
Yeah, give or take 20. So, what was it? The experience you had playing pubs for the previous couple months that allowed you to do so well, or was it the players around you?
It was absolutely not to take
fun
anything
you were
away.
having?
Yeah, not to take away from my team, but I'd been playing pubs for about 4.5, 5, months, and I was getting better on my own. I wouldn't have signed up if I wasn't confident that I could play against these guys who I knew were going to be in the RSL. Like I knew a handful of them from pubs, and I was like, okay, I can play with these guys if somebody would give me a spot. And Monty, who Montpellier, I can't say enough good things about. He's the best GM I've ever had. He was the best GM a rookie could ever want. Because back then, as the first 5v5 season, there wasn't a rule in place to play your rookies or play everybody who showed up. But he did it anyway, and he made sure to practice with me and make sure I felt like I was part of the team and I had a role. Like right off when he drafted me, he was practicing with me and trying to talk to me about what I expected of myself and what I wanted to do. And me and him split a lot of time together. He'd take himself off to play me.
Was he BOC? This is when he was BOC, correct?
Yeah, and he was BOC at the same time.
Oh.
He had a lot on his plate. I think he's probably only like 16 at the time too. He's doing a lot. Really, really nice guy. Nicest guy in the whole community, I think.
A true leader.
Yeah, great leader, great GM. Built a really fun team. Hatrick and Ace and Marchie. Marchie didn't have a mic. I think he was too scared to get on. He was probably 13.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Well, Monty was a good GM, but season 7, your second season in the league, you man up and you GM your own team. You guys did very well at WBS, and you have any good memories or what it was like making that deep playoff run and winning the cup so early in your career? Oh, well,
yeah.
Disclaimer.
Yeah. I'll let you do your thing here.
A big 20-point asterisk on this cup win. Season 7 playoffs first round, WBS played RCR, Rapid City Rush, which had me, Evgeny Malkin, Sweaty Goals, Liam Barrett, and Capital Skis was a goalie, and then we had Ark, the Russian guy, Russian sensation. Game 1 of the playoffs, we show up and we go up 2-0. Let me check the schedule.
Best of 5.
Yeah, it was a best of 5. Yeah, so we go up 2-0. So we only need one more win. Let's see. Was the convincing wins? Let's check. Ours did I have the play? Okay, Rapid City, 3-2. Or no, sorry, that was game 2. 5-3 and then 3-2. We won those 2 games. And then game 2 or day 2 with the 3 remaining games, we get reverse swept. You guys get it's not reverse swept. You guys come back from the 2-0 deficit. So big, and the only reason you guys did that was because Evgeny was late, Ark was late. It was like me,
Sweaty
Skis,
wasn't there.
Sweaty wasn't there. It was like me and Skis and like our backups. Like Renegade was like his first season there. I remember he was playing. So I'm just gonna throw that out there, and you can talk about making that deep run and what it was like with that team.
Yeah, back when there were 3 rounds.
3 rounds, 8 teams.
I just want to say, because that was my second season ever, and I was GM.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a lot for me to GM, and the season before, which I can't say enough good things about every single guy on that team, and Monty, but and we lost in the finals, and it's a long playoffs. We win the first round convincingly. We win the second round. It's a breeze, and we get to the third round, and we have to play against the Iowa Wild, who have Meat Sail in net, and Jerry and Tidge and Zod on offense, and it's just this unbelievable team. And we were outmatched, outclassed. There's no lineup we could have played that would have given us a better chance to beat that team, because they're better. They beat us fair and square, and they would have done it again if we replayed that series in any other way. But for the last bit of the series, Monty tried me on D, and I didn't like that because I've always kind of played D the same way. I don't generate any offense back there. I'm just sitting back there. I'm just playing D when I'm on D, and I'm not scoring any. I'm not helping the offense, or he's benching me, and I'm not even out there. And I felt at that point that I could have contributed more offensively than anybody except Marchie on that team. Yeah. I personally felt, not that that was true, and it kind of upset me that we got beat, even though totally I wouldn't have helped.
What did that series go to because of the schedule?
That went to, if it was best of 7, it went to 5. If it was still best of 5, it went to 4 because we won 1 game, and it was probably lucky because we got killed in the other ones. And anyway, I was upset about that and how it ended, and I thought, okay, if I GM'd and we did it my way, I think I could put together a good team. And it might not have if it hadn't been for Nina, my AGM, who I wanted to draft. This was the season we're having all these rookies come in, and I get a couple of rookies I get my eye on. Like,
there's that big recruitment wave.
There's a huge recruitment where we got Guy LaFleur and Drag, and everybody who's anybody who joined after me probably came from that draft. He's huge. And so Nina tells me, you shouldn't draft a forward, because I wanted Malkin. I wanted somebody to play forward with. And Nina was telling me, no, you should draft defensemen who have played before and have experience, and you should throw the rookies on your wing, and you need to carry the offense. And I was like, all right, I don't know if I can do that. And he's like, no, trust me, this is what you should do. So I get Germs and Tidge on D, who were great, and then I end up rotating. Like, BG was new. My friend Marky Mark, who I had known before, and he played on and off with me every now and then. I got him. I had Migo, who couldn't really make games. It was just kind of a rotation. ML and net. And, I did that, and that strategy worked. And I led the league in scoring, playing with those guys. And won I tied the regular season MVP vote with Marchie. We both won. And then the playoffs come around. We have this controversial down to reverse sweep. I put Migo in over BG, and it caused a lot of turmoil inside on the team. BG wasn't happy with getting benched, as no one would be happy with that. But we won, and I wasn't gonna say that was a bad call because we won. And we go into the next round. It was a great playoffs. There's a lot of great stuff going on, because in the second round we play Doucette's Rochester, and he comes, we go up 2-0, and it's, yeah, we're doing it. And the next day, he brings me into his channel about 5 minutes before we're supposed to play and tells me, hey, I got this guy in my roster, PKane88. It turns out he's nobody epic. He's been aliasing because his brother Hades is on the team. Been aliasing
And
all season.
Nobody Epic was
No,
banned.
yeah, he was banned at the time. He's aliasing as this new guy. And so uh, he asked what we want to do about it. The BOC asked. I said, well, let's just play the rest of this. And we played the third game, and we go to overtime, and I put BG in, and he scores the game winner, and all is well. The team's a unit again. And we go to the finals, and we're playing Utica with Crackpipe and Jerry and Parabola and these guys. I think it was Johnny's team. And we go up against them, and we're playing the last day, and Parabola doesn't make it. And legendary Trev, bless his little heart, had never played in the RSL before, is thrown into this do or die situation in the RSL finals, and we beat them. And it's great. It's all the, like, I couldn't, there were problems each round that were not in the game. They weren't on the ice. There were problems going on for everybody we played against, and I couldn't care any less. It was such a great feeling to win after I lost the season before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I ended up winning playoff MVP and best GM, and let it all go to my head.
Their little rookie that got too famous
Yeah, the
too
little
fast.
rookie that good.
Yeah. But yeah. Well, that was your high point, I guess, in this career. So let's bring the dial forward.
Yep. They missed the playoffs, yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. Yeah, so I have some strong feelings about this season. Not good, but the only real regrets I have are all from this season of how I acted. And so I was coming off a really good season in the RSL. I regular season MVP, playoff MVP, leading scorer, all of this. And I won best GM, and I got all these little accolades that I really let go to my head. And I get drafted to Ace's team, who was on Manitoba with me, good buddy of mine, still Ace. And he gets me and Dildozer as kind of the first two. We're the kind of core of this team. And we're not playing well together. And Dildozer shouldn't have been in the RSL at the time. He's way better than everybody else. He's way better than me. Not even close.
And he was already a. Wait, no, this is season 8.
This season.
So I think, didn't he start on Philadelphia that season in LHL? Because that'd be season 9. I can double check.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
Yeah, if he
Yeah, he sure did.
And he won the cup that season, didn't he?
Yep. And so we're not playing well together in preseason, and I maybe played 1 or 2 at the most regular season games on the Alaska Aces, and the whole time we're not playing well, and me and Dildos aren't meshing well, which is to say I'm not playing well, but that wouldn't have ever occurred to me this season that I wasn't playing well, because I had just led the league in scoring, and I was this hot shit. I was the best in the league, in my mind, and I wasn't happy with how we were playing, especially me and Dildozer together. And I kept every game, every preseason game, every scrim, and the regular season game or games that I played, I would tell Ace after every game, you should trade me. You should trade me to Manitoba. You can get the goaltender help that you need. You can get GT. Me for GT will be the main thing, and you can just throw in whatever. And I was talking to Monty, and I was trying to build this trade. Like this, the trade, I built the trade, essentially. I made it happen. I didn't ever request to be traded, but I built this trade. I pushed Ace in the direction to trade me. And so he sends me and Skis for GT and Doucette. Doucette was the throw-in, and he led the league in scoring that season playing with Dildozer.
Yeah.
He worked way better than I would have. And Doucette and me were on the same LHL team that season, and he was the guy I was looking forward to playing with on Manitoba. I didn't know they were going to, Monty was going to throw him in, and I was upset with that. And on Manitoba, I'm not doing well, and the team's not doing well. And I'm letting everybody know that this is their problem, and they should be happy to have me. And this team should be built around me. And I made Monty make moves, and we had Goose and Germs on D, and I was getting mad. And he trades
Drug
Goose
addiction,
for he trades Goose for Tidge, and we get essentially Wilkes-Barre from last season back. Monty's trying to accommodate to what I want, and I remember specifically one game, and I won't forget it because I feel like a giant piece of shit. I was a piece of shit all season. I was a jerk to everybody. But that season, at one point, we were down in a game. I couldn't tell you what game it was. It's probably uh, close to after I got traded. It wasn't quite at the end, but we're getting smashed in this game. We're down by a bunch, and I say to these guys, like, why am I even showing up if you guys aren't going to put in the effort? And I will not forget
God.
saying that. I said that to Goose and Germs and Monty, guys I love.
Oh God.
That was the worst thing I've ever said in this, and it was totally unfounded. I was terrible that season. I was bad. I wasn't nearly as good as I thought I was, and I feel so bad for Monty, who is my favorite GM, the nicest guy, and I was being such a jerk to him all season, and it like wrecked my whole relationship I had with him. I'm pals with him now, but it was not good for a while. Like, I really wrecked a good thing I had going,
No, I
and
did not know
it was
that.
just such a bummer. It's just I'm sorry to everybody who had to deal with me back then, and if I'm still like that, who has to deal with me today?
Yeah, thank God I didn't know you till after.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, we're gonna skip. I mean, unless you want to say anything about season 9, I just want to talk about you GM that season, and you GM season 10 with the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins season 10 Cup winners.
Yeah.
What was if you remember? I have a couple of things I want to ask you.
Okay.
If you remember, what was your idea behind the draft?
Well, okay. Well, so if you want me to touch on season 9, then that's a good.
Yeah, if you want.
That's a good starting point. Because season 9, I drafted this team. I GM'd again. I didn't GM season 8, and I had a horrible time, and it was all my fault for having a horrible time. And this time, I'm GMing because I'm like, okay, won the cup as a GM. I'm gonna build a fun team. So at least if we're losing, I'm gonna have fun. And we were losing, but I had my buddies. I had Hatrick and GK, and I had a ton of people. I had Germs. I had Riven and Doc and Eric at different points in Hippo, and I had Pizza playing with me. He was kind of flaky, and he wasn't really much of a. He didn't really care about the RSL, I don't think. So I traded him for Drag, and once we got Drag, we had a lot of fun. It was a fun team, but we missed the playoffs. We weren't very good, and so season 10, I want to build a winning team. So the first round, I get Austin, who I believe was without a doubt the best defenseman in the league at the time.
Yeah.
Austin at the time had kind of switched to D from goalie recently, and I think he was a little underrated at D. I think he was way better than people gave him credit on D.
And you got him with the 6th pick.
Yep.
Too, just for
I had to pick last every single round, and we won the cup.
Yeah,
they don't let you do that anymore. It's all snake and garbage.
So, yeah,
right after that season, they snaked. It wasn't good enough that we won.
Yeah, the draft was Margie, Drag, Ghost, Crackpipe, Gouch, and Austin. So
yeah, so I get Austin, then I get GT, then I get Omaha, and then with the last pick of the 4th round, the final starter spot, I message you and I say, "Are you cool with me drafting you here?" And you're like, "Absolutely." And I take you. Take whatever. I take Hatrick. I grab my buddy. We go down. I take Ollie Mata, backup goalie, whatever, with the last pick of the draft, and it closes out. And it looks on paper, I feel like I have the best team in the LHL, and we go 0-7 to start that season.
That's what I kind of want to ask was, the team. We were losing games, but you didn't. Deadline goes, and you didn't make a move.
I still think about that. I think about that a lot. I'm
sure a ton of people question. I think even at that point, I remember
you and Austin were not happy with me.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about something.
Happy.
There's some deal that you were thinking about, I think, and me and Austin caught wind of it, and we kind of were talking to each other.
What I can tell you exactly what you're thinking of. What happened was that season on that. Sorry to call you out, Icy, but Icy's team was really not good, and they were having trouble. And they had Ace as their goalie, and Ace was doing really good in the LHL at that time, and he took a starting spot from Skis, and Skis and Ace. So Skis isn't playing in any league, and Ace is playing in both. So what they do is, okay, the BOC, that is, they say Ace isn't playing anymore and Skis is coming down to replace him. If every GM is okay with that, it'll pass through waivers. And I was the only team, or we were the only team at the time that could have claimed him on waivers. And GT was struggling. And you guys wanted me to pick up Skis on waivers, and I said no. That's screwing over Icy. I didn't want to screw over another team who wouldn't have a goalie, and I said no. That's not okay to do. I'm gonna let him
Would we have given Skis Icy? Or sorry, would we have given Icy GT?
No, we would have just got Skis was the thing.
Oh.
Yeah, we would have just picked him up off of waivers, and I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to screw Icy. I liked Icy. Still like Icy. I don't dislike him now,
Yeah,
but I liked it then. Back then, I was buddies with Icy, and I didn't want to screw him over. And we're 0-7, 0-6, whatever we were on our run at that point. And you guys were really upset with me, and I was not hearing any criticism. I wouldn't even dream of hearing. I was mad that I was mad at myself. I was mad at the team. I was mad that you guys didn't think I was doing a good job, which I don't think I don't know. Maybe I was, maybe I wasn't. But anyway,
we just us not playing well, or not.
Yeah, we were
just not winning.
Yeah, we were losing. That the problem. Even looking back, if you look at that team, like what would I have traded? Like I could have traded you guys and made my team different. I wouldn't have made it better. I had the best possible team I could have had that season, and I wouldn't change a single member of the roster if I could go back. And we start. I think the big thing was we rescheduled a few things, so we played a bunch of games on the same day, and for 2 days we got like 5 or 6 wins. We were just smashing teams, and we put ourselves.
We got like 3 mercies in a row.
Yeah,
like that.
we put ourselves in a great spot, and we made the playoffs, and we had to take on Self Plug's Binghamton, who Self Plug probably shouldn't have been a goalie in the RSL at the time, and we take them to game 5 or 7.
Took them to 7.
7. It was best of 7, so we take them to 7.
Let me double check because
I
know it went to the last game.
Finals went to 7.
Let's see, season 10 schedule. Yeah, no, went to 7. No, it went to 5. Sorry, 5.
Binghamton went to 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so
but the last game of the series, yeah.
Yeah, and then we have to play against the Quacky Face Drag Frisks team, Peoria. They were insane. That was a really good team. They were the best team in the league that season.
Fun fact with Frisk, I doubt he's gonna watch this, but I was practice shooting on him in that season 10 RSL, like really early, and he was like saving my shots, and he kind of said like some like condescending mark, like you're shooting too soft. It's really easy for a goalie to save, and it was just like really fun to beat him in the playoffs. There.
Frisk, I love that guy. He was a good guy.
He brought me into the league. Actually, fun fact.
He was a really cool guy. Yeah, it
was like in those 2 upset wins.
Yeah, well, we brought the series. We tied them. We were going into the last day tied. And Drag was missing it. And they can criticize like, oh, well, we didn't have Drag in the last day. Well, you had him the first one. Yeah, we were to the series was 2-2. What are you gonna do? You should have beat us when you had him.
And they were like, it was usually like both days it was like we win one, get spanked. We win one, get spanked. It was like
that happened the last day too. We play game 5, we win. We play game 6, and we get just dummied. I think we lost 6-1 or something.
4-1 game 6. Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. And then game 7, through whatever, we had Ollie Modden at the last pick of the draft. We had Kiwi, who was the last starter picked. We go into game 7. Dials in there and says, "Keep doing what you're doing. Keep talking. That's it." And he mutes himself and chimes out for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And we beat them 3-0. And that was as happy, I think, as I've ever been in this whole game. That was the most satisfying cup win I've had in any league was season 10.
Was it because we came back, like we were the underdogs?
It was definitely, we had no business playing against Quacky Face. He was so good. And we just killed him in game 7. It was a blast. That was and going 0-7 to start that season. All the problems. I haven't GM'd since, and I probably won't GM because of how much frustration.
Was it really 0-7?
It was 0-7.
Wow.
Yeah. How do you make the playoffs going 0-7? And we did it, and then we won the cup. That's such a special season to me.
At any point did you think this was going to be your last RSL season?
No, I was going into I was going into that next season wondering, oh, should I GM? Should I? And I was
Yeah.
asking Austin. Austin was talking about GM, and I was like, oh, you should take me. We can get a little Wilkes-Barre thing going. And I went with the last
Yeah,
starter
no,
pick in the
you'd
LHL.
no way you'd be able to draft that team again.
Yeah, I know.
I
There's
think
not a chance.
a good thing that happened there. I mean, Omaha was newer, right, at that point.
He hadn't really been starting,
Yeah,
I don't think.
and you got him in the third round, and I
Yeah.
had such a horrible season in Hershey that it was lucky to be able to get me that
Yeah, I know
late.
you had like not to crap on you, and
I
that wasn't your
shit the bed,
fault.
yeah.
But Hershey, you had about 4 points, and
Yeah.
nobody wanted to touch you. And I was like, well, this guy's good. I've seen this guy play.
Yeah,
He's
really,
not...
it was like a perfect, especially for that last spot in the GM.
Yeah.
Everything
Same with
worked
same with
perfectly.
Ali Mata. I was like,
Yeah,
well, yeah, he wasn't like he had a bad save percentage, but he was on a Hershey. It's like it's not his fault.
yeah, and he really came
It
up
was
big.
just kind of a not good team. Hershey wasn't any one person's fault. So to for you to fall because you had such a lackluster season was a miracle for Wilkes-Barre because there was another forward available.
Mhm.
Like I wanted you. You were the only option. I was really hoping you were gonna fall to me.
So yeah,
Dial was telling me the whole time. He's like, you should take Kiwi, and I was like, yeah, I will if he's there. I just don't want to take him because he wants to play goalie in the JSL or whatever, and they won't let him if I take him
Oh
with this
yeah,
pick.
I forgot about that whole thing.
That's
Yeah.
why I asked you.
Oh
That's
yeah,
why I asked you.
yeah. I forgot. I completely forgot about that. Yeah. Wow. But I kind of touched on it at least a bit earlier. The your last season, Crab takes you, or your first season LHL. Sorry, Crab takes you in the.
Yeah, the last pick of the fourth. There was a big trade. That's a traded pick I got there. Yeah, if you look, I don't have the draft open, but if you open that up, you'll see on the side it was Jerry and me were the picks for I think like Stamkos and Legendary Trev or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. I see
Yeah,
that.
like that trade down. I was picked with the last starter pick, and that completely threw a wrench. I wasn't expecting to start it all because I
Do you
played a
know?
couple
Did you know
games.
Crab? Yeah, you were
No, no,
still a
I had
backup for a bit.
actually. I don't know if Grav will remember. I'd played a handful of games in the LHL. Like in season 3, I played a couple. I had a hat trick in a game, but other than that, it was uneventful. Season 9, I was doing okay, but I wasn't playing a lot. I wasn't starting ever.
Yeah,
And
you were never a starter at this point.
season 10, I was terrible. I was on Florida, and I wasn't even a roster. I went undrafted, and I got picked up, and it said replacement on my name because
Mm.
Evcobb had bed bugs. So my name on the stats said replacement
Oh
next to it.
God.
And I was involved in like 2 or 3 mercies. And in that season though, in season 10, I played this game with it was a 3v5 of me on forward, Icy on D, and K-Bomb in net against Edmonton Crabs team that won the
Jesus.
cup. And we lost 3-2
Oh
in a
wow.
5v3. We got GK around the second period, and he was skating. So it was GK skating.
Did Crab tell you that's why he picked you?
No, what happened was they didn't count that because you were aren't allowed to play 3v5. And Dial told me, well, if the other team agrees, then you can do it. And Crab didn't agree, and I was like, you won. And he's like, I don't care. I don't want that to count. And I was so mad at him. And I remember being mad at him. It's like, oh, that guy's a jerk. And people talk about Crab, and I'd be like, oh no, he's a jerk. And I only knew him from one interaction at this point.
Yeah.
But I had this really negative idea of Crab. But as soon as he drafts me, and Ace was on that Edmonton team, and he was giving me crap back in that he was playing that same day. Ace was playing for Edmonton, but Ace is the starting goalie in Cleveland. Went in whatever round he went,
Mhm.
and he's telling Crab's looking for his last forward. He's got his team. He's got Jerry, and he's got Ace, and he's got BG, and he's like, well, I need this last forward. And Ace, my good buddy from my very first season, Manitoba and Alaska, and all this, my good buddy through all this, is whispering in Crab's ear, take Tony, he's good. And Crab's like, no, I'll take somebody else. And he's like, no, you should take Tony. He's actually good. You'll be surprised. And so Crab's like, oh, whatever. Takes me, and he takes Guy with his Guy had hurt his shoulder, so he wasn't gonna be able to play until
Yeah.
half of the season. And the plan was for me to just play until Guy came back. And that season, I fit in with Crab really, really well. People like to say I got carried. Yes, I got carried, but yeah, I don't deny that Crab was way better than me. But I was pulling my weight. I wasn't
Yeah,
just
no,
I
you
wasn't literally just tapping in pucks in the crease. That would happen. That would happen a lot.
you had 36 points.
I had a very, very respectable season. And
Very.
yeah, and so I go with this last pick. I thought I was going to be playing in the RSL, and I'm like, oh, I get to play 10, 11 games in the LHL this season. That'll be fun before Guy comes back. And I go on a scoring streak where I score. I just keep scoring. I get a few points every single game. I at least get a point, and eventually I get to a moment where I don't have a point. The one game all season I didn't have a point. We get smashed by Minnesota, and Crab trades for Lucic.
Well, I was on Anaheim, and I was working with Skis closely about what the whole Lucic situation was.
I remember, yeah, there was.
And it was like he didn't want to play. He
got benched at one point because he showed up.
Yeah, because he showed up late.
mad
He was
about
he was
that.
threatening retirement, and so Skis' whole thing was, if I'm gonna trade him, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get a good player for him 1-for-1. So Skis' biggest thing was like, I want to get 2 starting caliber players out of Lucic.
Mhm.
And the only thing that we were able to get was the Jerry and Guy for Lucic.
Yeah.
I don't
Which
know.
I think
I don't
helped
remember.
the Anaheim. I think.
Oh,
you guys
it did.
were
It
really
definitely
good.
did.
You guys should have made the playoffs this season. You were great.
Hopefully, we're God willing. But yeah. So that's kind of the whole reason for that trade was we wanted to get 2 starters out of that Lucic situation.
Yeah.
So that forces you on D, because Lucic.
Well, not immediately. It didn't.
Yeah.
What happened?
It forces you to another spot.
It forces me to another spot. What happened when Crab makes this trade? And I don't blame Crab. I love Crab. He's a great guy. Great GM. Gave me my first real chance in the LHL,
Yeah,
and carried me.
It's not
So
how
I'm
you
not-
play. It's
I'm
what
not
you know.
giving-
It's who
I'm
you
not-
know.
Yeah, I'm not crapping on him here. But that said, at the time of that trade, I was the 4th leading scorer in the LHL. The only people ahead of me were Dial, Lucic, and Crab. Dial's a GM. Crab's my GM. Lucic. So Lucic is the only player in the league with more points than me that he can trade for, and he trades for him.
This
and
is the way Crab works.
and I go right from 4th leading scorer to you're on the bench now. Sorry, you're benched. And I'm upset with this. And I say, I know I'm fitting in. I'm just a stopgap utility guy. I'm not crucial, but I feel like I was having a really good season, and I'd like you to trade me. I requested a trade to Crab, and he's like, well, I kind of want to have you around still. And I was like, yeah, but I want to play. I was doing great. I'm a top scorer and everything. And he didn't end up trading me, and I don't even really think he looked around, honestly. And he plays Omaha for about 2 games, and Omaha was not. He never started in the LHL before this
Yeah.
point. He's kind of in the RSL, kind of fresh as a starter, as playing these really big minutes just the season before, and so he's playing Omaha. And Lucic isn't happy with how the team's doing in these 2 games, and he's blaming. Lucic was blaming Omaha. I don't know if it was Omaha. I don't want to say it was his fault that and it wasn't. I think we might have won both of those games, so it doesn't even matter. But whatever the case, Lucic says, why don't you put Tony on D? Why don't you try him on D? And Crab's like, oh, all right, whatever. And they throw me in. I missed about, I think, 2 games that season because I was benched. I made every single game. I was there those 2 times I got benched. But so they put me on D, and I was, big. No, not a big part. I was part of Cleveland, part of the roster. Started the rest of the season. And I started in every game in the playoffs.
On D in the playoffs, yeah.
On D, yeah, exclusively D. Which is why I went from 36 points in the regular season to 6 in the playoffs with 1 goal. And that 1 goal was a grounder because Gabe had left the net to go play the puck and turned it over to me, and I put it in the empty net on the ice from the blue line. I'm really, especially back then, really incapable of scoring from D. Can't really do it.
But you get the cup. First
Got the
season.
cup. That was fun playing against my good buddy Dial, who I was.
Were you and
pals
Dial friends with
at
us
the time.
at that time? You were
Yeah.
friends?
I can't, and by the way, I couldn't tell you when me and Dial became friends, and he couldn't tell you either. We have no idea. We can't figure it out. He was helping me draft Wilkes-Barre, and I was on
Yeah.
Dallas in season 9 with him, and he was helping work with me a lot. And I can't for the life of me remember if we were buddies before season 9 or not. I have no idea. I really couldn't tell you. And if we were, why? Why was I friends? Why would some RSL guy know Dial? Pretty big on
a
me. He
big
got-
shot
he-
like Dial.
Yeah, big shot. He was BOC. He was king. I remember one time he pulled me, Novastar, and Debezian, and he's talking to us. He's like, "You 3 are gonna be big in the community. You guys are gonna have a big hand in the RSL and all this and going forward." I remember that, and I thought that was I always think that was really funny because it was us three that he was really high on. He thought we had not potential as players, but potential as these kind of league runner BOC types, which all of us ended up BOCing at different points. Nova
Yeah.
and DBZ, BOC in the RSL, and obviously I was in the LHL. Actually, I was in LHL BOC that Cleveland season. I
Yeah.
became a BOC, but I didn't even think I'd play. I thought I'd just kind of be a backup. I thought, oh, I'll be able to vote on stuff, and it won't be super biased because I won't care. All three of us on the
Yeah.
BOC ended up on the same team.
Mm-hmm.
That was bad. I don't think we were cheating or anything, but like,
Crab
it's
was.
not good. That's not good to happen.
Yeah. Crab was cheating. He planned it.
That's good drafting. That's why Crab's the best GM ever.
But so yeah, it was good to beat Dial. What you were saying?
Yeah, it was fun. Well, it's not good to beat Dial. I'm playing the finals against Dial right now. Like if we win, I'm not gonna be happy. I'm gonna be happy we won, but I won't be happy about beating Dial. I wasn't really happy back then either. Felt bad because I felt like he works harder than anybody. So
He
like
beats it, yeah.
he works so hard at this, and for me to win and him to lose, like what is that? 6 points on D, playing with Lucic and Crab, the nastiest forward pair to probably ever see the LHL
Yeah.
in terms of just how well they fit. Like that was insane. They were carrying.
Mm-hmm.
Could put anybody where I was on Cleveland and probably won.
Yeah.
Would have won with Omaha. Didn't need to bench him.
Yeah. Season 13.
Season 13, Crab
Nashville.
again.
And me again too. Hey.
Yeah, reunited, and it feels so
Reunited
good.
for the second time at this point.
And at this point, we went from being good, awesome RSL chemies to you were a really great goalie. I think that's your first season, right, as a goalie in the LHL starting?
Yep. Yeah, I got taken 4th round. That was
Like
unknown.
Yeah, that was good. That was that was really fun to be able to kind of go into the LHL. I mean, I'd played you'd played kind of on it. You weren't.
Yeah,
you really started?
I played
Like,
a couple
were you a
games as
full-time
goalie.
starter?
No,
Yeah.
this is my first full-time starting position.
So I thought that was really cool to be able to play with you
Walking
and
together.
be familiar because I'm not familiar with Zam. I knew Crab, but
Zam, Jerry, and yeah. I knew Jerry. I didn't know Crab.
I knew
didn't know...
I played with Jerry and Crab the season before. By the way, I always feel bad for Jerry in season 12 getting traded, even
Yeah.
if maybe we wouldn't have won without Lucic, but we were still good. We could have won, could have done it. But I always feel really bad for him getting traded.
Yeah. But
Feel
season
bad
13.
for Guy too, but he didn't really play.
Yeah. Season 13, you get you play forward the whole season because I mean we had Zam
They
and
almost drafted
Jerry.
Tall over me.
Really?
Yeah, Zam wanted Tall, and Crab said, no, you take Tony.
Oh, why? That's kind of odd of Zam to want Tall, especially when if you were
I
available
think
and you already had Crab.
I think he thought I was a flash in the pan. He thought, oh, he got lucky. He won't do that again.
Oh, wow.
Crab was saying, no, you take Tony.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
But Crab also told Zam to take me. I don't know if Zam had any ideas for that too. So maybe
Crab's a good
Crab
scout.
just
Crab
just
knows,
he just
he knows
controlled
what he
everything.
wants.
But,
Crab's a genius at this game.
This is gonna be the second interview. The first one, Otto, gave Crab some good pump it up of his tires.
I personally believe I would still be in the RSL if Crab hadn't given me a shot. I don't play a type of game where people are like, yeah, put him in the LHL.
Finally, let's get this question out of Nashville.
Sorry,
No.
It's all about Crab.
You get the postseason run, and you led the league in playoff scoring. Actually,
Yeah, proud of that.
we beat Chicago in 7, but we weren't able to come back from the 3-1 series. We made it. We went to Game 7, but we weren't able to come back from the 3-2.
Game 7 OT.
Yep. Why weren't we able to do it? And also, Koof recently said that this was his most favorite fun team. Just want your opinions on that.
I would say it's definitely my favorite team I played forward on. Sorry, Florida, but like I loved every second of playing on Nashville. I was never frustrated really. I don't think. Maybe I was. Maybe I was getting mad. I don't think I was really getting mad till Calgary, but I think Nashville, it was so much fun. I was happy to be there still. I felt like, why am I playing in this league? I don't belong here. And I was doing good again. I was playing with Crab. I worked really, really well with him. Say I got carried, sure. I mean, I don't care. I played well with him. If he was carrying me or not, I was doing good. And the playoffs, I was doing was as good as I've ever played this game as the playoffs in Nashville. And I feel I think that's why maybe you guys look back at Nashville. I know Jerry and Zam do. It's like a big regret, like, oh, we didn't win, but like we fought back to Game 7 OT. Maybe it's a personal thing where I feel like I did everything in my power. I went above and beyond what Tony Flo is capable of, a level that I was capable of playing at. I went past that in those playoffs. So I don't feel bad about losing to New York. I don't feel like I could have done anything else. I had both goals in Game 7 and the 3-2 overtime loss. Sometimes I feel like I wish I had a third, but like somebody else score one. Come on, help me out. No, I'm not blaming those guys. I'm just saying. I don't feel like I personally, like I think I was playing as well as I could have, and I'm not upset at all about how I played, or I wouldn't go back and change something that I did.
Yeah, I remember there's a certain point late in the season, the regular season, that we were kind of struggling a little bit, at least struggling to score. I don't know if it was me and Zam or me and D-Man or something, but I remember we were just kind of thinking that like you and Crab weren't working, but maybe not working, but just like kind of we need to change something up from because we did a lot of like centering passes, which is kind of odd, you think, for like a Crab team, especially how he kind of cycles it around.
Back then, that was the Crab strategy: just throw it in front,
yeah,
tip it in usually. Or
I remember we thought that wasn't working, but it was you definitely came around during the playoffs, and you definitely deserved that the top spot in scoring. No arguing that one.
Didn't have the best points per game. I don't care though. Should have made the finals, Dial. Who we beat on the way. Another time beat Dial. 2 seasons in a row. Felt good about that one though.
Oh yeah, took him to 7.
Playing forward.
Out forwarding Dial.
Yeah, forwarding against Dial. I definitely did not out forward.
What Chicago team is that? Who did they have?
BG and Tall.
Okay,
that's the usual.
No Taze, not Taze. Okay.
No, Taze was 12.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That was Galch. They had Fat Squirrel and he wasn't working, so they put Galch in.
Oh yeah.
That was BG and Galch on D and Dial and Tall and forward.
Now I remember. So yeah, couldn't get the cup that season, but
nope.
Next season, me and you taken right next to each other in the draft. I was 8, you were 9. Let's get that on the record.
Yeah, all right. Guy said first.
No, he didn't. He said, I rewatched it. He said Keely and Tony.
He wanted me first.
Maybe that would have been the plan if he didn't trade up. But
no,
we're together for the third time. A third time at this point. And yeah.
This time we get a little, just a bit more help than we've gotten before. I mean, in RSL we have Austin and Omaha, and Nashville we have Crab and Zam and Jerry. This time we get Guy Lafleur and a little unknown coming up named KS Otto.
Kill Squad Otto. Did you
Pernell
mind?
Carl Otto.
Yeah. Do you mind playing D when you had
When Guy
Otto?
asked me, no, I do not.
Well, Otto wasn't known as when
he was playing D. He came off he was coming off a season on Boston where he's playing D, and everybody thought this guy, including me, and this guy's the best defenseman in the whole league, and it's not close. And Guy drafted, and we started scrimming in preseason with me playing forward, and Otto on D.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, how I remember, because I wanted to play forward, and Guy was like, "All right, you getting your crack," and he's like, "But it's not working. It's not working as well as it could." It's Omaha and Otto on D, and me and Guy on forward, and you and Net for a little bit, scrimming. Every now and then we get Hat-Trick in because we had prospects.
Oh, yeah.
And Steve and all these guys coming in playing, but nothing's really working. And Guy's like, all right, well, Tony, would you mind going back to D? And I'm going to try Otto. And it's like, yeah, sure. And whatever. I'll be back on forward before you know it.
Mm-hmm.
And turns out this Otto fella can play. And I don't set wing or C for the entire rest of the season, and I have no problem. I'm not mad at that. I was coming off, and Guy, I remember saying it. He said, Guy's words are, "I'm a real genius. I took the playoff leading scorer and put him on D," and that was the right call because Otto was just coming into being the single greatest player to ever play this game, except maybe Matt, back in 4v4, right when 5v5 started. Nobody's ever dominated a league like Otto was for 3 seasons there. 4 if you count Boston. Like they probably should have made the finals too. They should have been the ones killing us in the finals, not New York.
Maybe, yeah. Thankfully, New York took them out.
Yeah, I know.
But
Better chance against them probably.
what made us so dominant? I mean, you can say Auto, but you look at season 15, Calgary wasn't as strong, and all the other Auto teams.
And Montreal
could be as ping. Could be as ping, but like there was something different about season 14 than any other. I rewatched it when I did the other interviews, and man, like it was the finals was just insane how much stronger we were than the other team.
You can tell it's even when you're watching it, it's not just Otto, and I'm not saying it's me. Oh, I deserve it. I was playing great D. No,
you were. I'll say it.
Maybe I was. Maybe when me and Bertha, I think playing with Bertha was. He came in. I think Omaha got traded at some point, and we started playing Bertha, and he is such a great individual talent, great guy, and me and him played just like we were just connected. We played great D together. I'm not saying we're so good on D because we have Otto and Guy. Guy was so good that season. I think if you want to look at the most well-rounded overall player to ever play the game, it's Guy in season 14. I think he was so good of a two-way defensive. He was passing. He could score. He could do everything. And I think as great as Otto was, I don't think he would have been as good if anybody else in the league had been playing with him besides Guy. I think Guy was the absolute perfect fit. He did a great job building this team. He got you. Obviously, made that trade. He got an extra second round pick. Yeah. He got you, which makes playing D a lot easier.
It makes playing goalie a lot easier playing with you and Bertha. But
it's just that was a great team, and I know you ask Otto and anybody else. It's like, what's better between season 14 and 15? It's season 14. It's like me and Bertha on D and you in net. That's as good a team to put with Otto and Guy.
Well, me and Meatzel are close enough where I don't think it's different.
You guys are close.
But I think definitely the D was a huge improvement. Nothing against Trev.
I don't want to crow him. Like I love Omaha.
Great guy, and
he's a great guy.
The thing with Trev Crow is like
Trev Crow.
Me neither. But it's like the thing with that is you're taking a player that was good when he played, and he's coming back, and you don't really know.
He wasn't bad. I'm not saying they won a cup, and he did great.
Oh yeah, they still won.
But he's not at all bad that season. But I'm just saying, if you got me and Bertha, I think we were a really good D pairing. I was just looking back at the stats, and I'm such a jerk, just jerking myself off here. So I apologize, everybody. But that season, I was just showing Dial literally right before we started this interview. That season, on statistically plus minus points per game, that is one of the best playoffs a defenseman has ever had. Was what I was doing, and I was getting carried. I don't deny that I was getting carried, definitely. But like it's just that's a statistical fact. And Bertha was doing just like he was almost as good statistically, as points wise, and he's probably as good as me on D.
We let in 44 shots over 8 games. So that's just over 5, but we were shooting 10.38 shots a game.
Yeah,
insane.
That and a lot of that, we have the best forward support in the whole game with Guy Lafleur, and even Otto. Otto's a nasty defensive guy. He's not bad on D, and he's great.
Best positioning in the game.
Yeah, him and Guy are perfect. Those guys were perfect together. That's probably one of the big reasons. Like Otto doesn't have as good ping now, or why is Otto, or his cheat engine doesn't work. It's Guy.
That was the question I wanted to ask him in his interview, whether or not he used cheat engine. What he thought of that whole scandal.
I'm sure he did. He must have.
He must have.
He's using it again every other game.
But you get the cup. You get the cup-winning goal. I'll throw that in here if I can find it.
We swept Chicago with
and we swept the team before.
It was Crab and Drag and Juice a little, I think Juice and BG and oh man, I'm leaving somebody out on D here.
We swept Vegas too. Don't forget to mention that.
Vegas is good. Vegas put up just as good a fight as the team in the finals. They could have easily been a finals caliber team. Taze and Cap, Big V and Self-Plug and PK and K-Bomb. K-Bomb came in and played against us. I remember that. I think that was probably the last game K-Bomb ever played.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Anyway, Omaha's on. I just looked it up. Omaha's on that team. I see it. And anyway, we beat those guys, and I scored the first goal We won this game 6-0 by mercy, and I'm not super proud. I scored the first goal. That's the game, but everybody says, "Oh, remember that cup-winning goal?" That's not the goal they're thinking of. Isn't the cup-winning goal? I scored the cup-winning goal. I scored the first goal of the game. That's the cup-winning goal. But we're up
Technically,
5.
but
Yeah, we're up 5-0, and we're up 5-0. It's about halfway through the game. I mean, time-wise, it's about to be the last little bit of the game. The game's about to end. And my good buddy Crab, who'd been feeding me the last 2 seasons, throws a puck down, trying to dump it, and I get it. And BG's coming to defend me, and I try to shoot it. I don't know what I was trying to do, but I put it off of BG's stick. We slam our sticks together, and it doesn't zip right into the net, but it flies up in the air, and everybody's like, "Oh no!"
it's heading towards the net.
Everybody knows what's about to happen, and this spinning puck flies into the net and ends the series. It was so undeserved for how Chicago played to have that game end as a 6-0 mercy, end off of that physics goal garbage that I got. That everybody always tells me, "Oh, you got the cup-winning goal, yeah, remember it?" And that's not the cup-winning goal. That's just the ending goal. That's just what people like to remember.
Just as important.
Yep, almost as good as the goal I scored the season before from half ice on the ground.
On Superwoo. We'll say his name.
Sorry, Super.
He's
Love
a good
you, buddy.
He's a good sport about it, so I'll say his name. I appreciate how
wish
he is.
wouldn't. He brings that up too much. I wish he didn't bring that up because like that's what I'm gonna be remembered for when it's all
That
over. It's
shitty
like,
shot.
Remember, I wasn't passing. I was trying to shoot, and I hit the top of the puck and send it on the ice from the middle, from half ice all the way in. And he just
the best
he
is
just
the
flubbed
call.
It happens. It happens. Not his.
The best
just
is
happens.
Poof's call on it. Because he was doing our casting. He was on our team on Nashville, and he's like, and I make a save. He's like, Kiwi with a save, of course. Of course, it's a fucking nutty save. Like, what do you expect? Because he's on our team, and then and then you shoot it and goes, and he's like, oh, that's what he's just oh.
I think that I've said it a lot. Anybody who's been on a team with me and heard me score, I'm accepting. I'm really acceptive that I'm not a great player. Sometimes I get a shot off that is not the best and it's not high quality. And for some reason, this game really likes those to go in. Anybody who's playing with me, Guy knows especially, is a lot of shots. I'll shoot up, oh fuck, oh shit, oh I screwed up, oh it went in. Oh well, sorry. Yeah. I'm always mad about the shot, and then sometimes they just go in. The game's funny. It's not the goalie's fault. Like everybody.
You want to go and put on net.
Yeah, if you want to score, shoot the puck. I don't care how good you are at it. Just shoot the puck. It'll go in more often than not.
Well, enough Calgary talk. You weren't blessed to be on the next Calgary, but you were on the.
I was on 3 teams this
Yeah, you're on 3 teams, but you end up on Washington, making a playoff push. But
Yeah, sorta.
Why weren't you able to make that push and secure that? You had Dial. Was Dalf on the team at that point?
Dalf's on the team.
Yeah.
Dalf had bad attendance. I remember that. Icy had bad attendance. I think they both were missing games a lot, and Dick Dug was playing, and Dick Dug hadn't played in a while, and he's coming in, and he's, it's not ideal. I'm covering, but we got 2. I think Dalf and Icy weren't working well together. Not that individually either of those guys were bad. I'm not saying that. I'm saying together it wasn't good because they both kind of want to be the offensive, I'm going up kind of guy, and I found myself back a lot, and I didn't ever really get in a good groove on there. I'm not blaming them for me. I wasn't playing good all season. I broke my mouse that season. I got a new one that I'm still using that I'm still not happy with ever since season 15. So I was on Toronto, and I didn't want to play D, and so Leafs was trying to convince me to play D, and I wouldn't do it. I was like, no, I'm sticking to it. I'm playing forward, and Crab gets me, and we're playing. And I'm getting real mad. It was almost like that
I was there
season
too,
8
again.
RSL. Yeah, you're on
back
the team
again
too.
together.
I definitely wasn't happy with how I was playing. I was getting really, really mad that season all the time. I think it was too much successes. Season 12 Cup, Season 13 Finals, and I was playing well. Season 14 Cup, Season 15 I'm struggling individually, and the teams I'm on aren't great. Like I've only been on great teams so far, and I'm finally on some teams that aren't
not horrible,
dominating.
But they're not. Yeah.
Not horrible. No, Toronto made the playoffs. Chicago made the finals. Washington wasn't even that bad for a team. I think they had 6 wins. It wasn't that bad. It's got Dial on it. It's always a threat. But I wasn't playing well. I can blame my mouse. I can blame I went to the States to see my mom, and I had a visit, and I took time off, and I came back, and out of practice and all this. And Crab wanted me to play D, he wanted to juice up, and I wouldn't agree to it. I said no, I'm playing forward this season. So they trade this huge trade. Taze, one team gets Taze, one gets Gabe, one gets me. So yeah, that's great.
Again,
That's
another
not-
crab trade.
Yeah, another Crab trade.
Wizardry.
I think Washington was trying to shift around that. I don't think they thought Gabe and Dial were working well together. They wanted somebody who was going to be passing more to Dial. I'm not
Mhm.
as good as Gabe, but they thought I'd work better, or work well with Dial, at least better than I think Gabe was doing at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it never really clicked. I wasn't doing great. I was playing. That's probably my that's I think my worst season as a starter in the LHL would have been season 15. At
Mhm.
least production wise, missed the playoffs. Only time I've missed the playoffs. I made the finals every season. I've made the playoffs, which has been all season 12, 13, 14, not 15, 16, 17, now 18.
Wow.
I've
did
never
not
been
know.
beat in the first round. I've only missed the playoffs once as a starter.
Yeah, don't count backups. Those would count.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah. I get lucky. I go in the second round. I go about 9 or 10 usually. I went in the third round on last season, but other than that, I usually go around the same spot, and we're still able to usually make the finals. I don't win anymore, but whatever.
Just as good.
Just as good. Making finals is fine. I don't care.
Speaking of making the finals, season 16 Dallas.
What a team!
What a team.
Eventually.
Me and you, what is this? 5 times now we're together?
Season
Or, I
10
don't know.
RSL,
10 RSL, 13
13,
Nashville, 14 Calgary,
15.
15 for a bit. This is 5th.
Yep.
This is the 5th
Yep.
time. So, put on D with me. Playing D again.
We went
We
from
look-
playing forward in the RSL now to playing D.
Yeah.
All these seasons later.
Yeah, it's insane. And Austin was with us too, actually, as a goalie. Same with Koof. But
Yep.
But we look like the strongest team out of the draft, if not one of the strongest. Why did we struggle so much in the beginning? Don't be
We-
afraid to
Yeah,
name names.
well, I don't.
be honest.
Definitely,
It's 2 seasons ago. I can live with it.
people could move on. That season, well, for one, we didn't have, and I don't want to crap on everybody, but I'm gonna. So sorry, but we didn't have super consistent goaltending. We were kind of
Attendance and skill-wise.
attendance, and like Koof would miss games and Austin would have to play, and like none of these guys really. I don't think any of them got a good chance to get a groove going. And Lucic and Dial, I think Lucic was the first round pick. Dial took him. They were not working at all in the slightest together. Like it was not working, and it was really evident every single game.
It's kind of like what you're saying with the Dalphin and Icy thing. It's like both wanted to play that same role.
Yeah, it's not like
of that.
Dalvin and Icy weren't bad individually in season 15. They didn't
both wanted to
mesh
be the
well.
scorer.
They both, and sometimes that burns you. And the same thing with forward. It's Dial and Lucic, and Dial wanted Lucic. He was coming off of that good season he had on Toronto with Kill Pessel and BG and Leafs and Self-Plug and that really good team, and he was coming off of a great season. Dial was like, I want that. Lucic led the league in assists the season before, but it just, they weren't doing well, and so he makes what I think is a ballsy trade. Dial's got a lot of guts for making these trades. He traded first round Lucic for third round goalie PK, and then he trades Koof for Cap, who was benched. He's not even playing. Like he's getting no time on New York, so we don't even know. Like is he going to be okay? And so we get PK and Cap, and I think on paper, if you look at the draft positions, we're not really moving up from where it was drafted.
No,
like
not
we're
at
getting,
all.
we have no
We
first
don't have
round
first-
pick
yeah.
anymore. I think I'm the second round pick, and we got 2/3 with you and PK, and it's just not. It doesn't. It doesn't look that strong, honestly. And Cap was a bench player, but Cap and Dial, as you see this season, you saw it that season, and you saw it on Boston in season 10. They work really well. Cap knows how to play with Dial.
Was
He's
Cap
defensively responsible?
Cap
good
was
passer.
Oscar Lindbaum, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we had 3 third round picks actually.
Oh, 3. Okay.
So yeah, so it was a first. Well, Dial, who'd be a first, I guess.
Yeah. GM Dial.
GM Dial, you second, me third, PK third, Cap third.
Third. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like that's probably not what you'd want in the draft, but that team, it clicked. It worked. It worked great. Cap was really good defensively. He's a good passer. He was,
Mhm.
he's playing really well with Dial. He's letting Dial. I think the problem with him and Lucic playing together is they don't get to play to their strengths if they're both playing. Cap allows Dial to play. He can cheat. He can play a little aggressive, and he
Mhm.
can score like he's capable of. And we worked really really well as a team. You and me, I think, we're way more confident with our goaltending. Like
Oh,
PK was
definitely.
great. PK
We
was
we're still really
great.
good shot blockers too. Like
Yeah,
we
we're
were
nasty at blocking. I don't know how good our defensive positioning
your
is,
first
but we
goal, in the season came off a block.
the only goal that regular
Only
season.
goal.
I blocked a
Shitty
shot
glitch
in my
goal.
zone and it glitched in with about 5 seconds
Yeah.
left. In the game, we were down like 6-2
Yeah.
against Otto's team, Otto was still just unfair to play against at that time.
Mm.
And then, lucky for us, we got to play against them in the first round.
Yeah.
Oh, goody.
What was it like coming back from 3-1? I asked Otto about it.
I know how by the way, I watched that. I had no idea Otto felt so bad. I like it.
Yeah.
It honestly makes me feel bad.
Don't feel bad.
I do. I
Use,
do. I
use
feel
that to
bad. I didn't. I
use that
had
to
no
fuel your
idea.
happiness.
He was so like distraught over that. Like he said that was his worst memory in all of HQM is losing to us that day. I and in a way it makes me feel terrible. Another way, that's great. That makes it even sweeter.
Yeah.
But like that was I think of at least in the LHL, I won on Cleveland and I won on Calgary, but beating those guys, being down 3-1 and winning, and I scored the game tying goal to send us to overtime in Game 7. That
What a
was
beautiful shot. I told
yeah.
Otto, I was like, God damn it, you motherfucker, you better pass it to Dial right now. And you shot, and it was such a beautiful
Bar
shot.
down,
Oh my
and
God.
Dial wins it for us in overtime. Uh, that
Well,
was
actually,
such fun. That was so much
another
fun.
thing you said earlier in the season is before we traded. It was like I was telling you, like, go D to D passing with me. You're like, pass it to Dial,
I
Lucic, or
that.
Kiwi.
By the way, that season 50, I just had my memory refreshed yesterday on this. Fun. It's really funny because we weren't talking about doing this interview, but yesterday I asked Dial to clarify what I said. And it was on season 15 on Washington, and he says it was Delph. I thought it was Dick Dug, but he says it was Delph. I'm coming back. I'm back checking, and I scoop the puck out of my own zone on Washington season 15, and Dial's up the ice as he tends to be, and there's a guy kind of near him, whatever, and Delph's or Dick Dug. Dial says Delph. I believe him is around. He's around the boards. If I pass, he's wide open, and he says, "Yeah, around or across. Get it. Yeah, get over to me." And I pass it up, and I force it up, and he's like, "Well, dude, I was wide open," and I said, "Yeah, but that's Dial up there."
I mentioned this on autos. It's like it was like I noticed it the first game in. It's like the ability to just like throw it in that general direction, or
And he'll get
even
it.
as hard as hell as you could. Lucic was good at it too. They receive it, and it was like mind blowing to me to play with these people. And I didn't like Guy and Otto where like I wasn't playing out, so I didn't really know. But it's just like it was like insane at how good both
I
of
think
us
you have the
are
most
receiving.
points as a goalie that season on Calgary too. A lot of assists, a lot of goals.
Yeah,
It was,
yeah.
it's good. Like you, great long bomb pass. It was good stuff.
But man, I'll always remember that how just good Dial and Lucic were at receiving those. But yeah, we come back from 3-1. You feel bad about it. Feel so horrible
Well,
about it.
I still feel pretty good about coming back.
But
Then
the
we
finals,
Yeah.
lose to Hamilton with gonna put my own opinion here. Gabe, they were really lucky to get Gabe in that trade. But we played we spread it out over 2 days, correct?
Yep.
Do you think that had an effect?
Maybe
on our
it
ability
did.
to win the cup?
See, I don't know. I don't know how you guys
yeah,
feel
your
about this.
interpretation.
I don't know how. I've never even like talked about this with you guys, so I have no idea how you guys feel about this. But I don't. I don't think that. I don't think that has an effect. I think
We took him to 7.
we were winning. Took them to 7. Our teams had the same amount of goals and the same amount of shots in those finals.
Oh wow.
Like it was. Yeah. It was close. It was really close, and you could say, "Oh, we could have played on the same day." I don't think that has any effect. I think we could have got smashed. We played a different one. We could have won. It doesn't matter. I think we were in as good a spot as they were. We only lost Game 7 by 1 goal. We lost 2-1. Like we could have won that.
Yeah.
It's not playing on one day. It's not.
Are you one of those players that thinks that? Or he's like really like into the mental, like, if a team scores on you really quickly, like 3 goals right away, like you're like, oh, your head's like in a bad place. You can't
Yeah,
really do
I
well.
think if you go down early, especially if you go down by more than one, I think it's bad. I think it gets in everybody's head.
And
On
also
Florida this
playing a
season,
game.
we've come back a lot all season,
Yeah.
and it's not really doesn't get in our heads. I don't think. I don't know why it's not like we're these really strong mental players. It's just I think it. I don't know. Maybe it's changing my mind a little. I think it's a little lucky. I think maybe the other team lets it in a little. Maybe gets into their head being up just as much as it would get into somebody being down. I personally think it being down sucks and it feels like, oh man, this game's over because we're down by one or two, and then
Mm-hmm.
Otto scores like 4 goals, and you're like, oh yeah, I guess we won.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I really don't know.
Quickly, quick glance over season 17 Anaheim. You had a pretty strong team out of the draft, but at least in the finals you got mercied. Or not mercied, sorry, you got swept
But
by
probably got mercy.
Kansas City. Yeah, probably, maybe. But you got swept. Why was Kansas City able to sweep you?
They won this regular season series too, and they mercied us a couple times for
Mhm.
sure. And they just had us. Marchie and Dial will tell you. I asked the other day who Dial thought was the best defenseman ever, and who are or not just the one, but who has there been people who have played this game? There's a lot of forwards like Otto or Dial or Lucic or all these people who it's like, oh man, these guys, we got to play against them. That sucks. And I asked Dial, did you ever have that ever with defensemen where you're like, oh man, we got to play against these guys, like this guy or these guys? And Dial says the two not really, but the two defensemen ever are Tays back from season, 3 through 11 or 12, however long, like Tays' real peak where he was really good at stopping guys was and scoring. He said Tays back then and Marchie for the last few seasons. And I think Marchie is so good at stopping players, especially Dial. Like he knows Marchie is so good at D. I think he might be the best like stick checker to ever play this game. And Austin is really underrated. He does not cheat up on offense. He plays D, he plays it well. He closes gaps. Like those two. And I think we didn't really have like Quacky was good. Canoodle played a bit, but Quacky was our guy. He we didn't really have that second major. It was mostly Dial, and when you shut down Dial, it was kind of that was it for us. It was
Yeah.
we weren't getting any scoring. It's part of it's on me, part of it's on Tays, part of it's on Dalf, part of it's on Quacky. Some maybe it's on Dial a little, but it's just Dial gets shut down, and that was it for us. And Kansas City with Guy too, great defensive forward. That was they played. They had us. They didn't have any other team in the league quite as bad as they had us. Like there was no chance we win one game that series.
Mm-hmm.
I knew going in. Like we were
Yeah.
gonna get spanked. I think that's what I'm not really mad about. I'm not mad. I lost in the finals, and I couldn't care any less because I think, yeah, I wish we'd won on Dallas, but 17, they had us. They deserve that. That's theirs.
Yeah.
Not a question.
And well, I guess as the time we're recording this right now, it's the series is tied 2-2.
Yeah.
The current series, season 18,
Finals.
Florida.
Yep. Florida.
It's,
Florida, other
it's,
guys.
Yeah, it's the Friday before the Sunday games that I will be streaming. But what was it like, at least coming back from that 3-1 deficit against New York? You do it again, 2 seasons apart.
Yeah, I guess so. That
Not as the first seed, but you were the first seed. Actually, no, you're second seed.
no
sorry.
second versus
Yeah,
third.
actually,
And I think definitely. By the way, we beat New York. We might win the cup. We're in a good spot, but
The season's
think-
a win.
I think New York, on paper, is a better team than ours on paper, and I think I really don't know. I was talking to people about this, and the best team on paper doesn't always win. Boston, I think in season 13 was the best team in the league, and they lost to New York. Meet Sale and Tays, similar team. And this season, it's Meet Tays, Austin, Resi, Haybert, and it's just they go up 3-1, and I think they got too confident, and I think they
Yeah.
didn't approach that last day. I think it's hard.
It's when
to
you
play.
lose that first one.
It's when you lose that first one, and I think they didn't put themselves in a good spot to win that first one. Is what I think. I think that's just what happened. I think they didn't, or at least not all of them, prepared mentally maybe. I think when you're up 3-1, you get this kind of, okay, we got it. This is in the bag. We get 3 chances at this. I don't think you can look at it like you got 3 chances. I think you need to look at it like we have to win this first game. We
Yeah.
have to win it. You can't think 3 strikes and you're out. You got to think we have to win this game. You got to play it like it's game 7. And if you lose by some, it's like, oh my God, they beat us. You can't let that get to your head. You have to play the next game like it's game 7. Like this is our season on the line. You got to play. If you have to play, if you play one, you win it. You have to play that game like it's game 7. If you play 2, you lose 1 and you win, you close it out. Like you got to play hard every game. And I don't. I'm not saying they didn't play hard. I'm not saying they didn't give it their best. Like I don't know. I'm not in their heads. I don't know what they think. But
Mhm.
if I had to guess why this seemingly better team that was up 3-1 against us, a team that I think had the best D pairing in the league, except maybe Crab and BG. Like the top two, I think those two guys together, Austin and Taze, are both individually so good at D and work so
Mhm.
well. Like I think just maybe they didn't prepare mentally enough. Maybe they let that for they definitely let the first win get in their heads. Like if you lose that first game, it's hard.
Yeah,
It's hard.
it's really hard to recover from that. Well,
But yeah, I was happy. I loved it. I loved winning that. I was surprised because I thought I was practicing for I was practicing all day and I was thinking about it. I was like, man, this is probably it. Like they beat when they went up 3-1. It's like, well, they're up 3-1, but even though I'm not super confident in our ability, I'm gonna give it my best. I think
yeah.
I scored. I had like 3 game-winning goals.
Oh well.
Yeah, I'm leading the playoffs in game-winning goals right now, and I think they all came there, or
Mm.
3 of 4 came there.
What was it like being in that TS when you guys get that
When we
win?
won, oh, it was great. I was happy. Everybody was happy. I couldn't believe it. Because we put it down to the wire, and we were up by 1 in game 7, and they shot it in front, times winded down. It's like, oh, that's going way wide, and Meat tipped it, and oh man, it just
Mhm.
barely missed the post, one in the corner,
Yeah. That was
and he was cheering. It was great.
yeah, cause game 7 you guys won 4, or sorry, you guys won 2-1. So
Yep.
definitely a nail biter.
Yeah.
Now,
Everybody played big that day. It was a big day for Florida.
yeah. So now let's go through the real quick, just quick questions. Was there ever a player you'd wish you'd played with?
Yeah. um, like at this point,
Okay.
no, because I've played with. You name a good player. I've played with DMB, and I've played back when he was in his absolute peak, and he was insane, and Leafs, and then I got to play with Dalf at his peak, and Dial, and Otto, and Crab, and Guy, and Taze, and Cap, and all these guys, and you, uh,
Oh wow, thank
and
you
I was
mentioning
I was
the
on a I was
dial
on a
and
t- I
shit.
didn't play with him, but I was on a team with Meat Sale. I was the backup on Chicago in season 11 with Meat Sale, and I've been on a team and Jerry and Zam and Marchie and Matt. I got to play with Matt, and K Bomb and all these guys. Like there's I'm sorry if I didn't. I named a lot of people there. I've probably played with you and not mentioned anybody, but I've played with all of these great players and Lucic at his peak, which on season 12, which was great to watch him and Crab and BG and Ace and all these great like top performers.
Hmm.
Like, I've got to play with all these fantastic players. I've got to play with people who maybe aren't these super elite, but guys that I love and I like playing with even more. Like there's all kind like Austin. I love playing with him even in pubs. Like he's the best. Plays D, plays smart. There's all kinds of players. Like I don't know. Like maybe there's people I've never played with Ike, but he's kind of recent.
Hmm.
I've played with Rezi and Canola. There really aren't players that I haven't played with. I've played with everybody. I've been in the RSL or the LHL. There aren't many players I haven't played with.
I like the
And I
Yager.
would have said Taze, but last season I played with him.
Yeah, it's insane. I didn't really
It's
think
great.
about
I've
him.
been I've been the luckiest player in this game, and just the quality of teams that I get on. It's great. There's not really any one player that's like, oh man, I don't get to play with him. Like anybody that I would have wanted to play with I haven't, is probably retired.
Yeah.
And sorry if there's somebody out there that I just escapes my mind that. I'm not saying that I do want to play with, and I just can't think of.
Yeah. I asked this for everybody. Who are your top 3 D-man, or I guess forward and D-man? Because you two separate lists.
All time.
All time.
All time.
You played both positions.
I've been doing a lot of, because I'm a super dork, I've been doing a lot of looking back and collecting some stats in the last month or so, just from all-time players and looking at them. And I would have to say, well, Otto, that 3-season
Which one?
stretch,
Forward or D?
for those 3 seasons on forward. This is forward. A D you could call him too. Forward Otto was the best anyone's ever played in the LHL. Like consistent, like 3 straight seasons he does it. Those 2 seasons, those Calgary seasons were like unfair for the rest of the league.
Yeah.
And Montreal, he was great too. He's just same points per game. He's just as good. he was better for the first half of that season. He was at like 4.5, 5 points a game for the first half of that season.
Insane.
So him, looking at pure talent, I came in when I was playing pubs. I barely played in the league with him. Played on Florida. I got to play with him once, and I played against him in net, 80 save percentage. He didn't score on me. Cap did. But I played against Matt, and then I played with him and against him in a lot of pubs back when he was really... You couldn't believe what he would do with the puck. A lot of people now
it's like
who play... A lot of people now who play didn't see him, and they don't understand. I've argued with Doug about it because he says, oh, it's all ping. And Matt was so good. Nobody with low ping can ever do what he does. He was so creative. He was smart too. He knew where to be, and he knew exactly how the game worked. He skated better. The only player anywhere like Matt, not in terms of league domination, but play style, would be Big Bertha. Like he does creative stuff too. Like him and Matt, he's good at them too, but Matt would do it, and he would be down in a game going into the third period, and he would say, okay, I'm going to win this game. And then he'd win the game, and he would destroy pubs. And there's no mercy rule in regular pubs, so you'd see games with 20 goals because Matt's just destroying these guys.
Right,
he got on a team with Dial in season 5 where they won. They were on the playoffs, and they spanked, and they swept. And if you've ever seen footage of that, I gotta recommend you look it up. And Dial knows I love him, and I think Dial's the best. Dial would be number 3, by the way. But watching Matt and Dial play together, Dial looks like a complete scrub who has no idea what he's doing next to. And Dial was like MVP caliber, and he was winning, scoring titles and 100-point seasons back in these 4v4. And playing next to Matt, he looks like me next to Crab on Cleveland and Nashville. Like you could just tell Matt was on another level, and he's on another level than the second best forward in the league, who he's playing right next to. And my third, which Dial was, he's never had a peak like Otto or Matt, but he's every single season been a top 2 player in the league, and that is impressive over the course of almost 5 years.
It's a huge thing.
It's not just consistency; it's consistency
at the top.
At the tip top. He's the best, and he's the best in the league right now, and he has been since Otto's issues with his whatever have come up.
Yeah, and I don't care if you think Otto is better than him, which you make a perfectly good argument.
You could, yeah.
It's the consistency, the dedication. It's that.
He works.
Nothing with Otto. I was just making an example.
Yeah, Otto's great. Dial is on another level of his work ethic and his shot and his receiving. Yeah. And it's been that way for his entire career. So he's third. In fact, you could, if you want to look at it like career, it's probably Dial, Otto, Matt. And if you want to look at peak ability, it's Matt, Otto, Dial. Yeah. So any of that's not 1, 2, 3. That's just 3.
Yeah. What about defensemen?
Well, from what I gathered from Dial, I'm gonna go with. I don't want to order them 1, 2, 3 again.
No, order them. I don't care. Order them.
All right. Well, then, for longevity's sake, Taze I didn't see all of it, but from
you heard the lore.
Yeah, the lore, and I saw him in pubs back then. I didn't really get to play against him in the LHL until he started having those attendance problems, and he wasn't able to practice as much. But I played against him in pubs, and I saw him play, and that is the nastiest defenseman, the horrifying to play against guy.
Nothing flashy too. It's the best part.
is nothing flashy. Like he looks like if you didn't know who he was, if he's playing without a name or something, and you just saw him skating with the puck, you'd probably think he was some new guy. But he doesn't need to. He's not flat. He doesn't dangle it till he loses it. He gets it and he skates it up and he shoots and scores usually. And he's great in defensive spots. Plays great D. Always has. He's still great. I don't think he's quite at his peak because I don't think he practices as much, but he's still great. And just back then, I think he's probably the best ever from when I started playing in that range, in that era. And then I would say Marchie, more recent, but that guy, he's really good, really, really dangerous on offense, and he's impossible to play against. That Marchie's only problem is sometimes I think he gets in his own head and he starts cheating up on offense. If he does that, then you can get past him.
Yeah.
But he's easily defensively when he's on you, when he's playing defense, he's the hardest guy I've ever had to play against. And I think anybody who's had to play against him, and when he's squared up and he's playing D against you, it's hard. It's impossible to beat that guy. He doesn't fall for any garbage.
Who gets the number 3 spot? Those are the two
number 3 spot.
easy picks.
By the way, this will be fun fact for you, and if anybody's actually listening, something I found. I was talking about looking up stats. This is not my third pick, but I got to give a shout out. This is an honorable mention before I give my third pick. Honorable mention of since I started playing this game, the highest points per game a defenseman has ever had in the LHL is McJaba on Season 8 Toronto. At like 206. I was on that team. He assisted my first 3 goals all off of the face-off. Face-off, score, face-off, score, face-off, score. And those were my first 3 goals in my first or second LHL game. All Jabba assisted too.
Was he the face-off?
He was the face-off today. That's why he played that game on C. So it's cheating. He definitely played a game on forward. So that he got 3 points there, which inflates his numbers.
Is that even better than Otto season 13?
That's better. Otto was 192. Marchie on Kansas City was 2, which is the second best. Otto's third best, and Jabba is first best at 206, which is insane. That's hilarious to think. And Jabba, I think it
says more about you spitting out all these numbers than it does any of them.
It does. I'm definitely I got them right here. I got them on my Google sheet. Jabba is like, especially back then, like he's a scoring machine. You see it in the playoffs now. Like he cheats up a bit, but he can put him in.
But who else but you to cover for him?
Yeah, no, I'm not.
I say that on my cast that it doesn't work as well.
Third best defenseman, Tony Flo. Whoa,
yeah.
No.
Tony Flo's set left wing.
Yeah, third best defenseman, and he's third best because it was a one-time thing, and it's a cop out for me picking it. But it's KS Otto on Boston, who was without a doubt. I couldn't pass the crab because he would swat them out of the air without looking, and that was so stupid.
God, he's so good at that.
He can go fuck himself back in season 13. Right now he's fine. You can block him out of the air like once. Back in season 13, he can go fuck himself. That was stupid. He was so good.
I posted like a flashback to season 10, and it's him like receiving a puck behind him in the air, batting it down, receiving it, and then deking me out and scoring. And I was like, God, like
he's nuts. He was probably as good as he was on Calgary. It's just he had to play D. I know Timu wasn't coming back for him. I love Timu. He knows if for some miracle he's listening, he knows I fucking love that guy.
Some miracle he's listening and he's made it this far.
Yeah, he probably skipped right here. He knew. He's got a sixth sense. He's crazy.
All right. What about favorite / defining moment of your career?
Man.
I skipped the regrets because you kind of talked about that about your season.
Yeah, season 8 RSL, my big regret. Same season I was in the LHL, I quit on showing up for Dial because they were showing me a bunch of stuff too. Dalf and Dial were showing me diagrams of where to be on the ice and like asked me, so where would you go if you were in this position? What would you do? And then Dalf at one point had like this video put together. It was like half an hour long, and he said, "Okay, everybody watch this before the next game." And I messaged Dial and I said, "I don't want to play anymore. I'm just gonna play RSL. So I'm not gonna show up. Sorry, I felt so bad, but I couldn't do it. It was too much." And so that whole season, that was the same as that RSL season. That was the same season. Just big regret in both leagues. And then, but favorite moment, I don't know. My whole first season was great, getting drafted. everything. Everything was fantastic. I remember I scored a goal once on early on. Might have been my first game because I had a 5 point game. I got a picture of it somewhere of me at the top performers. I never thought I'd see it again after one game because I had 5 points. I remember scoring, and Hatrick, who's on the team, I think he got the assist, and he's coming flying up the ice at me. He's like, "Yeah, give me some," and he jumped into me, and I thought, "Oh, this game is these leagues are great. This is a blast." So I'll always remember that. I thought that was the funniest. I was like, "This is great. This is so much fun."
I'll count
So
that.
probably that. My first season.
It's a good memory.
Yeah.
So what about everyone's favorite question? The dream team. What the elite players skip to in the interview.
Yeah.
You could do all time or current.
Do I have to be on them? I can build a better team if I'm on them.
I let Quoof do. At the end of it, he just put himself on it. 'Cause who cares? Let's just do it. But he did both. I say build it and then sub yourself out for one of the players.
So I gotta call out a guy. I gotta call out a player that I like.
And especially for you get to play D or forward. So.
Oh, I think I gotta play D if it's a good team. So. All right, my favorite. Okay, here I'll do an all-time team, which would
Season 14 Calgary.
Yeah, season. If it's a dream team and I'm on it, it's Otto and Guy in forward, me and Berth on D, and you and net.
Yeah, no one's beating that.
That's the dream team.
No dream team beats that.
Yeah, nobody beats but anybody out there. I don't care. Not beating us. Nobody did in the playoffs. But my dream team all time. I've been thinking about this ever since Dial started doing these stupid interviews forever ago. And I would be like.
And didn't invite you on.
Yeah, I know he's scum. You're the best.
Thank you.
But I've always been thinking about this, and I'm gonna, like, if you ask me tomorrow, I'll have a different answer. But I think my all time, if I'm taking people at their peaks, I'm putting Matt and Dial on forward because they were great together and they're as talented as you can get. I think I'm gonna put Taze on right D and Otto on left D. Yeah, and have you in net.
Thank you.
And not just because you're here.
Thank you.
But I'm also biased because I've been on a million teams with you, and I think you're the best.
True.
I think you're the best goalie ever.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if you got to go current, I'll throw myself on this one because I'm definitely not an all-time player. All-time 78 overall Tony Flowcard. Current, it's tough. You got to think who would work well together.
Yeah,
it's not just I could say Dial and Otto, but would they work? I don't know. Maybe. No, I think what I would do is I do Dial and Guy. I think Guy would be my center pick.
Wow.
And Marchie on right D. If I have to play on it, it's me on the left, on left D, with you in net still. Sorry, okay. PK. It's just PK's great.
Sorry, this is gonna be out.
A better season than you, I might add.
Yeah.
But
this is gonna be out. This is gonna be out after that, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, he's not gonna throw.
I gotta go. My favorite player, my favorite teammate. It's got to be you. Koof's on the bench here, by the way.
Yeah.
Koof's on the bench of any of these teams. He's the best teammate in the world. And if I can sub myself out, I think I put Crab on left D. If it's a right now team. Maybe spicy. Austin or Crab. That's a toss up. I guess Austin because I know him and Marchie work well together.
Wow. Very, very strong team, I might add. So we're gonna get into some more boring legal stuff.
It's the legal stuff.
Why'd you decide to be a BOC? Actually, sorry. I'm skipping a question. Actually, what was the most fun team to be on?
My first team, Season 6 Manitoba. We played, all of us, every single guy on that team played games together outside of it, and I'm still buddies with all those guys. Except, I guess GK and Hatrick ghosted, so maybe not in the last 2 months or so. Or GK's been a little longer.
Yeah.
But that's that was my first time playing this game. Monty made it a great experience. Filled the team with just great guys that I loved. I didn't dislike playing with. Even like I played with Vector. He was the first goalie on the team. I played against Ace when I had my 5 points. He was in net, and I scored them all on him. And then we traded for him. But I had Vector. We had Parise. I didn't have Mr. Morat played. Omaha didn't play, but he was on the team, and I knew him from pubs. It was great. Every single guy on the team I loved, and we all played games and had a blast every time we got to play.
Yeah. So now
So that'd be the team.
So now time for the legal stuff. Well, why'd you decide to be BOC when you did?
Well, at the time, that was coming off of
The 3
throw-
BOCs, yeah.
yeah, they all stepped down, and I was very against their decision. That was the big controversy at the time, which was they vetoed a trade. It was on my team, so I'm biased. But they traded, or the guy tried to trade Austin for Tall Midget, and the BOC, which Dial couldn't rule on it. He was on Chicago too, on the guy's team. Taze and Cap said no, you can't do that. Austin's not good enough. And then a different team, I think Colorado traded Burn Wernham for Tall Midget, and they were like, yeah, that's fine. And I think it is a little blown out of proportion, but they were. Austin was better than Burn back then. I took Austin over Burn in the RSL, and I would have every time. And I think people in hindsight can look back and realize, oh yeah, Austin was better. Austin's been a little underrated through his career, and he was the best defenseman in the RSL every time he was playing D in the RSL. And I think people, including myself and Guy, we got in a big stink, and we made it a bigger deal, I think, than it needed to be. But we were all mad about that. We thought these guys are so out of touch. The BOC needs some new blood. And a guy in BG signed up for it, and Fast Squirrel signed up, and I wasn't even thinking about it. Really, it occurred to me, but I didn't think I'd get it. So, but then I don't remember what eventually pushed it, but I wanted to do it. I decided I wanted to BOC, and I throw my name in. And the voting day comes around, and I'm messaging every single person I know, hey, vote for me for BOC. Message Austin, message everybody. And I ended up getting that spot. And I'm now like the longest tenured BOC. It's crazy. And I didn't even expect to start that season. I thought, and I was telling people, all my RSL buddies, I was like, I'm gonna bridge the gap. I'm gonna help out. I'm gonna be an RSL guy. I'll be in both leagues. I'll be able to give this great input. And I never touched the RSL. I co-GM'd with Dial once. But never touched the RSL again. I work pretty close, and like those RSL guys definitely work harder than us. They have a lot more to deal with. And Austin and Doug, I respect a lot of what they do, and I always ask their opinions on things. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they'd ask me stuff. Like it's a pretty close kind of thing. But I definitely was not quite I don't know, that missing piece between the RSL and the LHL that I thought I might be when I started, or when I wanted to BOC.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do you think is the hardest part about being a BOC that people don't really realize?
I don't know. It's not too. We're really like Dial makes a schedule and usually does the stats. I was doing them a lot this season. He's a little lazy. Until the playoffs. So he's been doing the playoff stats. Him and Lewis. I only did a couple games, but it's kind of hard when you disagree with another BOC. I think people think of, and I did too. I thought of the BOC before I was BOC. I would think of those guys as, if the decision comes out, it's the BOC decision. It's those three guys made that. Usually three. Those three guys. Made that decision, and I think people maybe don't understand. And it's not that hard. Like it's not a lot of work. It's not keeping me up at night. It's not this crazy thing. This season it was kind of tough. Lewis and Lucic have had some attendance issues and trouble, and I have to make a lot of calls on my own that I'm probably not doing a great job with. But every decision I've ever had when it was Guy and BG and now Lewis and Lucic, there's never anything that's all three of us are like, yes, we all agree. It takes so long, and you have to message these guys over the course of days usually, trying to get answers and their opinions, and you have to meet with them, and you got to make sure all three guys can get on. Like sometimes that's the hardest part, is getting everybody on to talk about something they disagree with. And it's hard to make sure you don't want to just make a decision. I did that this season that I really wasn't happy with when I gave you guys D-Man Jerry and I brought him in, and Lewis didn't want me to do that, and Lucic was fine with it. And that's 2-1. That's fair. It's like that's how it works. Well, I'm allowed to do it, but I didn't like doing that. I didn't like that Lewis didn't agree with it, and I wanted to make sure I wanted to do it, but I wanted to make sure he understood. And I went and asked every GM. I didn't get to ask Leafs, but I asked every GM. It's like, yeah, I'm planning on doing this. Like, does anybody really have any big problems with this? I was asking Lewis too. Lewis had problems with it. None of the GMs did. Lucic didn't. And even then, even though it's all it's 7-1, and I still don't like it. I don't like doing that. I don't like making that call. I think, and then I made another call, which I think I made the wrong call at the end of this season with Meetsale playing in net, and I called that game a forfeit because he's not allowed to play goalie. That rule's there for him and you signed up for both, so I don't care what you do. But that rule's in there for you guys and Austin pretty much. These really good goalies and defensemen. And I made a call, and I called that game a forfeit. Lucic and Lewis weren't there, and I didn't get to talk to them. I made what I think is the wrong call, but I did it. I called that game a forfeit, and you guys lost your stats. The game didn't matter, but I felt like nobody was taking it seriously. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. Like, Meat is not allowed to play goalie. He played goalie.
That's the rule.
It's the rule, but and I made that call alone, and I hated it. I hated doing that, and now that I'm like, even the next day, even like 2 hours later, I'm thinking.
I know Ike was really upset about that.
I know. I feel bad for Ike.
But no, I think it's a good point. The rule is the rule, and it's there for a reason.
The rule is the rule. I wish we got it. It's something we're gonna have to look at later. Hopefully, I want Cap and Austin to hopefully, make a big impact here. With the BOC and making sure like this season was tough, I felt like I had to do a lot of stuff on my own, and it wasn't great. I don't think I made the right call at the time. That Jerry, I might not have made the right call with Jerry. I stand by doing it, but it might not be the right call, and I'm perfectly fine accepting that. I think
as long as you stand by it, it's a good idea. Maybe
unless
not. If it's a horrible,
unless it's the Burn Tall trade, then you shouldn't stand by it. No,
I guess maybe that was a bad thing to say. You shouldn't stand by like a shitty decision, but I think as a BOC member, it's important to kind of be like.
I call that I call the forfeit there with New York and you guys. I call it a forfeit, and even though I don't think I made the right call, I think I should have thought about it more. I made the call. That's the call. That's what I gotta stick by, and I'm gonna stick by that, even if it's. Like, I know I need to do something differently if that ever happens again in the future, and that's something we need to work out, is because that rule is more recent, the eligibility for what you sign up for. And it's mostly just for players who have played goalie before, especially at a high level like Meetsale has. You could argue, man, he's just as good in net as he is on forward or anything, but he's not allowed. I'm sorry. They played a game with a player that wasn't allowed to play.
Yeah,
that's
no, I agree with that, and I think that's a good idea. That's a good stick by the rules as they are. And
I'm perfectly fine accepting. Maybe I'm wrong. I should have done that differently. Maybe the stats should have counted for Vancouver or this or that. I don't know. I made the call quick and I made it on my own, and I probably shouldn't have done that. But I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you kind of touched on some there, but. Are those one of the hardest? Like, I was gonna ask you, what was your hardest decision you had to make as a BOC?
It's always hard coming up with the draft order because it's always wrong. In hindsight, everybody's a genius when it's in hindsight.
Yeah.
But the Jerry thing was tough. That New York decision, looking back, is hard, and that's probably the decision I feel least
But it's not.
Strongly.
It doesn't have a huge impact.
That wasn't a hard decision to make. I saw that what was going on. I said that's a forfeit, but the Jerry decision was really, really hard to let a late sign up in, and put him on a team that wasn't in last place. Toronto's struggling, and I'm just putting a player in the league, and you can't have him. A guy who would have went in the starter rounds, most likely at least. And that was hard. I guess that's probably the hardest decision that I've ever had to make. I've had bigger disagree. There wasn't a lot of Lewis disagreed, but I've had bigger disagreements with when BG was BOC. Me and him would always disagree over the awards or the draft order every season. When we snaked, when you do all that, the snake draft is. It's hard to make sure. We always talk about you snake 1 through 3 and 4 through 6, but if we did that this season, would Toronto be even worse? Like, does that hurt? It's tough. So it's tough to make some of these decisions.
But
And
the hardest single
we're
one.
not right.
Yeah. But you think the hardest single one was the Jerry for Doug?
The hardest single thing for me is my call. I don't think it was like the hardest league decision. I think it honestly wasn't that big a deal. I think if anybody thinks that Jerry's this, I love Jerry, one of my favorite teammates, but he's not a big game breaking. He's not winning best defenseman.
And especially when you compare
great.
him to Doug.
He's just a stopgap.
Yeah.
And compared to Doug was playing great. Doug was like, him and Austin are probably as good as one another. At least they were. He's not in practice now, but Doug missing him, I think, really hurt Vancouver. Jerry's good, but he's not as good as Doug. And Doug, I think, built that team with himself and his play style in mind. I think without Doug, the team wasn't as good as it could have been.
Yeah. All right. Enough with the boring BOC stuff. Pub Stars. What's your thoughts on it? Is its effect on the community?
Its effect on me is it drives me crazy because I take this game and pubs way too seriously. I don't know. I don't think it's good for new players. We're gonna recruit soon, and have
you guys talked about shutting down Pub Stars?
I haven't. I don't have any say. I'd like at least people to not play Pub Stars while we're recruiting. I'd like that to be maybe if Omaha doesn't shut down the server for a day or two, let nobody play it. But let these new guys play in pubs if we get them. If nobody joins, the recruitment fails, go nuts, play Pub Stars. I don't care. But if we're recruiting players and you got new guys on, don't play in Pub Stars. Don't. It's such a. You got to get them playing in pubs. Get them playing games consecutively, with no pressure. Not playing with way better players. Let them play with new guys and people who are toning it down. People who are playing, passing to them and trying to show them this and that. But Pub Stars in general, I don't know. I think people play a lot. You can get on HQM pretty much every day and play.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's always been the case. Maybe a few years ago. I don't know if we took it away, would people still just play normal pubs? You'd hope so. Like pubs were fun. Pubs are fun. I prefer playing captain's games or something. I'm kind of sick of Pub Stars. I like Pub Stars when it came out, but I don't know. I think it discourages some people, the new guys or people who don't really, they don't want to take it that seriously. People are just trying to play the game. A lot of people crap on those guys, like, oh, if they don't want to play, they shouldn't be. The game's kind of for everybody.
Yeah, and you made a good point. How it does keep some people around that necessarily wouldn't.
It's not.
It's like
I don't think it's good or bad. It's just something that exists within our game, and we've kind of adapted around it. I don't know if those. I think I think it's hurt new players. I think it hurts developing players a little, but I don't think it's an inherently bad thing for the community to have. I think it's fine. It gets people playing. People, as frustrated as people get, and all the drama that comes out of it, it gets people playing. And as much as I say it's not good for a new guy can find a pub. You say, just wait around for 7:30 or later, and there's going to be Pub Stars after league games usually.
It's like the Dave Chappelle joke. It's like a superhero who rapes. It's like he rapes.
Rapes, but say Pub Stars does. Pub Stars rapes, but it doesn't save. It doesn't quite save, but it gives you something to do.
It saves more than it rapes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to do some final shout-outs, Tony?
Shout-outs.
Don't forget anybody.
I'm going to forget everybody. Did you hear me listing the players I've played with and who I wanted to play with? There's somebody left. Shout-outs.
Shout them out.
I don't know. Who'd be listening? Dial's going to listen to this, so Dial, play games with me. Crab, if you're listening, play forward and carry me next season. I need you. I'm struggling. I don't know, Florida. Everybody on Florida, try to get practicing. Hopefully we'll win.
10 or...
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Evcobb. Shout out to K-Bomb. He was real good that season, but his stats don't reflect it because he was getting scored on 6 times a game. At least. I don't know. Everybody on Calgary. Guy, great GM. Monty, great GM. Leafs, one time when I was new and when I first started, before I was even playing pubs, you once sat with me in a server for half an hour when I was brand new and tried to show me how to play. I appreciate that. Johnny Hockey, hope you sign up. Jay Lalu, hope you sign up. Zam,
Their
hope you
whole
sign
group,
up.
yeah.
That whole group, hope you guys sign up. We need sign-ups. Anybody who's listening who isn't signed up, sign up, please. We need you. Play for fun. Who cares? Don't take it seriously. Or take it seriously. It doesn't matter. We're just trying to play for fun at this point, I think.
We're
Except
just
PK.
trying to
PK wants to
play.
win. Shout out to PK. Hope we win. Hope we get you that cup. If not, whatever.
If not, sign
I've
up
won.
again.
I've won. I've won cups. So, just you have one of mine. Shout out to season 16 Dallas.
Very special.
Kiwi in particular, playing D with me.
Thank you.
Bertha. Anybody who's had the unfortunate experience of having to play with me, sorry. Or if I played well, not as sorry. Still a little sorry. Shout out to I don't know. Whoever's actually listening to this, shout out to you, buddy. Shout out to Hatrick and GK, who maybe will come back one day. Probably not.
Yeah.
If they do, they do. I don't know. Koof, I said, is the best teammate ever. Koof, great guy. If we still gave it the 6-man, he'd win it every season except this one because he got to start, deservedly so.
Yeah. The Quoof Man Award.
He's earned it. He's good. I'm glad. It's funny. Somebody like Quoof, people who play this game and they play backup and they show up and they don't complain about not starting. Like it's Quoof, deserves his shot and he gets it. Everybody like that. People like me playing season after season in the RSL and you just get one shot. You didn't really improve. You weren't playing any better. You just get a shot. Manage to stick. Good for you.
Mm.
Job to Crab. People like that give new guys a chance. Or people have been playing a while. Fun stuff. It's I get pretty mad playing this game a lot. I get frustrated with how people play. It's fun. The community's good. It's a really fun game.
Yeah.
Shout out to Cryptic Sea for making this.
Mm.
Payne Retsky for what he's doing. Yeah, I shouted out Cryptic.
Wow.
Don't at me.
Well, are these teetering off?
Yeah, it's been teetering off. I don't have anybody to shout out. Everybody I want to shout out I'm going to talk to within the next 48 hours. They know who they are.
Yeah.
Everybody buy Blackwake and play that with me. That's the new one. That's the new one this week.
The...
Noah, I know you want it. He's not listening.
He's in no way he's in this 2 hours deep.
Taze, skip to the shout-outs and tell Noah to get Blackwake. Taze isn't listening. I bet Dial listens. That's it. Shout out to Dial. Shout out to Dial for listening to this.
Yeah. Well, Tony, thank you for sitting down the last 2 hours and, well, guess 2 hours and 20 minutes if you include the part that wasn't recording.
Didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
Perfect.
I'd like to thank you for sitting down and talk with me. If I'm going to do the thing where I shout out who I'm going to interview next, Crab should already be recorded and up by the time this is up.
No, this is going up tonight now.
No. And then, looks like it's going to be Meat Sale and Super Hot Glue.
Super Hot Glue. That's
Super
a new
Hot Glue.
I hadn't heard of that one. And I would like to say my next interview will be Kiwi at an undecided point.
Undecided time and location.
Undecided time. Anytime, though.
Yeah. Super asked me. He's probably one of the only people that has asked me that who's on my list.
I remember if I asked or if you told me. I
don't know.
I asked today. I asked to do it tonight, but I don't remember.
True.
I don't remember if I asked for an interview.
Yes.
I usually don't want to do that.
So as a heads up to everybody, don't ask me. I'll come to you. Okay.
don't ask for an interview or it hurts your chances.
If it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Unless you're Super, I guess, because he asked.
Yeah, because it's meant to be. So.
Well, he GM'd Hershey, so.
Yeah,
obviously.
Holy shit. In PTSD. Well, that's it, Tony. Any last word? Well, no, you already got your shoutouts.
I got my shoutouts.
Just say bye to the folks.
Bye,
at work.
Have a good time.
Have a good time. See you on Pub Stars tonight.
Oh, man.